What's up, people? I am back for another video. Got myself a chorus banquet here. I am going to continue on with the Austin Powers movies. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing Goldmember. And yeah, I promised today. I know I said yesterday, I just kind of forgot about it. But tomorrow, not tomorrow, later tonight, I will do my Bands I Love on Journey. But getting to this movie is probably, this is my favorite one. Like, I think the first one is good. But to me, this is the funniest one. I like the dynamic between him and Felicity. I thought Heather Graham did a great job. Mini Me was introduced in this film. Like, a lot of the tropes we know of Austin, but I know they were in the first one, but this one, like, brings it out, like, exponentially more. And I thought Dr. Evil had some really funny moments in this movie. Fat Bastard was introduced, and I thought they were, because this could be a character that could get annoying because, rewatching it, you might think it's funny as a kid, but then it could be like, it isn't as funny when you. I think it still hits. And I think because they bring the character in right doses. Because a character like his can get a bit overdone, So I think overall, I love this film. I think I like I like that they mainly kept it in the 60s. There's some scenes in 99, but they largely kept it in 1969. So I like that. So yeah, and just rewatch. I always like when I watch these movies. This is the one I'm always like, yes, I'm fucking ready to watch this one, just because it's the funniest one. It's the funnest one. So here we go. But so getting started. Austin, this one opens up with like you get this kind of little homage to Star Wars with the title crawl where they explain what's happening in the last one. So we kind of continue basically from the ending of the first one, and it turns out Vanessa is a fembot. I don't know if there was a real life reason why um, they didn't want Elizabeth Hurley back. Maybe she was doing another movie because after I would say after this movie she was in a lot of stuff, so maybe that was the case. She just didn't have time, so maybe they let her just like, we'll just film this one thing. So I think they did a good job of an in film, in story explanation why she's not there. So she turns out she's a fembot. Like, you get this funny moment where he's like watching TV and rewinding, and she's rewinding and stuff. So she self destructs, and we get this funny title crawl again where he's nude. Get kind of this one from the first one. Get jokes about his dick. I fucking love it. I love the title crawls, just with everybody watching and seeing those that's like probably the funnest stuff of the movie. Is those like openings. So it's like the choreography with everybody and just all that. So then we open up to Dr. Evil now talking about his plan. Basically, he's going to steal Mojo from Austin Powers, go back to 1969 when he was still frozen. And we get kind of like Dr. Evil gets kind of filled in what's been going on since, he escaped in the end of the first one. And then we get probably my favorite joke. Actually, no, before that, we get a shot of, you get the joke about the dick, the dick size, because it was a rocket that looks like a dick. You get that a few times in this. And then, like, some military guys watching Jerry Springer and fucking Dr. Evil's on there. It's fucking funny. It was funny, Dr. Evil argue with this KKK dad. Fucking great. Like, because it was the late 90s. So I like a lot of the references they make in this movie, because it was the late 90s. So Jerry Springer was at its height at this point. So we get that joke, but then we get Dr. Evil's main plan. He wants to steal Austin Powers' mojo, and he has an person on the inside, which is Fat Bastard, to steal it. And we get the fun, probably one of my favorite Dr. Evil moments. Besides, like, the shush moment from the first one, we get the zip it thing with him and fucking Scott. Exhibit A. So that's my favorite one. Fucking great. And then he goes back in time to 1969 Then Austin Powers, while hooking up with one of like I think her name is Ivana, but he loses his mojo, so he goes to Basil and he has to go back in time to try to get his mojo back. So he goes back in like a bug that looks like a hippie car. So they go back to 1969, get this kind of fun opening where he's in the 60s, a bunch of dancing. Then this is where we're introduced to probably my favorite not Bond, but Austin Powers girl, Felicity Shagged. I love her name. I just think she's a fun character. Her dynamic with Austin, just from the moment they get together, is just great. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Vanessa, but it was a typical she didn't want him at first, and then I actually like it from the jump that she's into him. She's like the American, like, cause she's like kind of like a take on even in like the late '60s America. You had like hot blonde chicks doing shit with guns. Like that was a thing. Like Charlie's Angels, even though that was more '70s, but stuff like that. So she's introduced a girl trying to flirt with Austin called Robin Swallows. These names, man. These fucking names. Then she tries to kill him. Turns out she's an agent for Dr. Evil. And they get this kind of gag where she basically won't die. Like, she gets shot a million times. She falls off a window. And even Austin's like, why won't you die? And fucking Felicity saves him in her fucking lover Corvette. Because you know how Austin has his car, which is like the British flag. Hers is like the American flag. Fucking love it. Then they confront Mustafa, which is Will Ferrell's character. The one you see kind of really quick in the first one, but we see him again in this one. They try to get the info on on Dr. Evil's hideout, which is on a volcano, on an island, but he gets killed. Then, Fat Bastard's introduced. I thought his thing was pretty funny, trying to eat Mini-Me. R.I.P. Vern Troyer. But yeah, Mini-Me was a great addition. Because I remember when I first really rewatched these movies, because there was a period I didn't really watch them all the time. I forgot. I always thought Mini-Me was introduced in the first one. I assumed, oh, he was from the first one. No, he's only introduced in this film, so it's pretty crazy. Because he feels like he's been like, it's the crazy thing, like especially rewatching it now. He feels like he's been there forever, like as a character, like. He feels like he just, like, the moment he arrived, like, oh, wow, he actually feels like he just belongs. And then, so, Dr. Evil drinks some of, Austin Powers' mojo. And him and Frau have sex. And they fucking Let's Get It On kicks in. Which is fucking funny, because this is supposed to be set in 1969. And that song is, like, from, like, the 70s. Oh, shit. Sorry about that. Like, because that song's, like, from, like, the 70s, I think. It's crazy. And then, so they have sex. So, I guess this is how Scott was conceived, basically. So, Scott arrives the next day, while, Powers and, Felicity kind of slowly start really connecting. Like, they go have a day out on the town together and stuff. They felt right, as a pair, and I think it's just unfortunate what happens in the third one, which I'll get to. But so Austin and Felicity, start slowly connecting while back at the bad guys area. Dr. Evil has a message for the president. It's basically saying he's gonna build a laser called the Death Star, and him and Scott, back and forth, him and Scotty, because he was calling it like the I forgot what he called it, like. Was he called the laser like a Death Star? and that was a reference to Star Wars. The Alan Parsons Project, which I guess is a band. I've never heard of them, but and then there's a scene he has a message for the president. He's asking for the money, so he shows what quote unquote what the laser could do, and he basically shows a scene from from Independence Day, which I'm assuming that's like the footage they showed like when that trailer came out, which was just the White House getting fucking blown up. And then fucking Doctor Evil with the '90s references, like she's made a bunch of them. Like, give me the money, show me the money, which is from Jerry Maguire. Fucking, it's fucking funny ass movie. Fucking showing him like not '90s movie like Independence Day, which wouldn't have come out for like another 20 something years. Fucking great. Just Doctor Evil in this one was just extra funny. So, Austin Powers and Felicity wants to have sex with Austin Powers, but Austin obviously because he doesn't have his mojo, he just feels like he isn't ready. So he walks off when Felicity's sent on like kind of like a little bit of a callback to the first one where he was on a reconnaissance mission, so she has sex with Fat Bastard to which I'll bet this scene's kind of gross, like especially when he's eating. But like yeah, she plants a tracker on him. Then the next day, Powers kind of feels better about himself. It's like, so him and Felicity kind of rekindle. Then they go to the island where Doctor Evil's base is. We get this probably one of my favorite scenes of the movie. Like even though I love this movie in general, just like, but one of the funniest scenes where he does a cover of What If God Was One of Us. I think that was a Alanis Morissette song, I think. And then he does Just the Two of Us, like its own take on it, but the Will Smith version. Because like even the same like beat and everything, I'm like, this song wouldn't come out for like another 30 years. That's what makes it so funny to me. Like all these like 90s references in 1969. It's fucking great. Then you get this gag where they're pulling something out of the bag, and it looks like Felicity's pulling shit out of Austin's butt because that's what the guards are seeing. So that happens. They get taken in. Austin and Felicity get captured. Kind of the same scenario. Even fucking Scott's like, you always do this. I think Scott, even I don't think he did a lot in the first. I think he's much better in this film. I fucking love him in this film. Like the shit he would say to his dad. His dynamic with him and Mike Myers as Dr. Evil is fucking great. I fucking love him in this movie. So, Dr. Evil and Mini-Me get on the rocket to go to the moon, to their moon base. Powers and Felicity obviously escape. They get on the moon because it's 1969, so you gotta make a reference on going on the moon. So, they go to the moon. Austin Powers, you have this, this is one of those scenes even from a kid, I recognized. I had this as a VHS. I always remember is him in the spacesuit fighting fucking Mini-Me. Like, I always remember that part of the movie. So it was a funny part of the movie, like, him just trying to fight Mini-Me. And, like, even, like, acting like, oh, I'm helping you, and then just beats him up again. So he manages to throw Mini-Me through, like a shaft, and he gets kind of flown outside. But, Felicity ends up getting captured by Dr. Evil, and he puts Austin in a position you either got to stop the rocket or Felicity dies because she's in like this thing that has like gas. So Felicity dies. He tries to confront Dr. Evil, and Dr. Evil pulls the "I am your father" thing. It's pretty funny. But then he basically manages to tell Austin, "Yo, you could go," because he has a time machine. So he convinces Austin to go back in time while obviously he makes his escape. He goes back in time. You get this other version of him. They manage to stop the laser and save Felicity, but Dr. Evil destroys the mojo and manages to escape. And Felicity gives Austin this pep talk like, you always had the mojo type of deal. They go back to 1999. You get this kind of funny last gag with him and Fat Bastard. And then Fat Bastard gets taken out. Felicity and Austin kiss, and then they have like a party. kind of like an homage to the 60s, and the film ends. And it ends with like a Dr. Evil gag. I fucking love this movie. This movie to me is just so fucking funny. I love the references. I love like the dick joke scene where they're like people are seeing like a rocket in the sky that looks like a dick. So they make a bunch of just dick name jokes. Pretty great. Doctor Evil alone, I just love him in this. Just because, in the first one he's just like the bad guy. He had the like the scene, but that's kind of it. In this one, he's fucking great. The scene where him and Frau have sex, and they hit the fucking "Let's get it on," fucking cheesy. And the scene, probably my favorite scene from him in this is where he's making like all the '90s references, just like all of them. Even the like girlfriend that killed me when he did that. I'm like, that's what makes this movie to me like the funniest one. I think Felicity was a great character. I don't like what they do with her in the third one, where they don't even explain what happens to her. But besides that, I freaking love this film. I think to me, of the three, I watch this one the most. I watch all of them. Like I tend to pretty much watch them all back to back. But for the most part, if I only feel like watching one, I'll watch this one out of the three. I just fucking love it. The scene where him and Minnie are singing fucking just the two of them. Like, it's just so fucking great. Like, I think, honestly, in this movie, I think Dr. Evil's probably the VIP. He's my favorite character in this movie. So, all around, yeah, like, I give this film a 10 out of 10 for a comedy. One of my favorite comedy films. And I love, like, the take on, because The Spy Who Loved Me. This is, like, the take on that title. So, I would definitely give this one a 10 out of 10. I would definitely recommend, like, if you like Austin Powers at its prime, I think this is the film to do it, so... But yeah, guys, I'm going to cheers to this film. But other than that... Fuck Warner Brothers. Fuck Disney. Fuck Joy Reid and her scum. And she's such scum, just for what she said. Fuck LaBitch James. Fuck Kevin Smith. And fuck Joe Biden and his administration. If I don't do the Journey video today, I'll do it tomorrow. But, so keep an eye out for that. And then my main video tomorrow will be Gold Member. So we'll be reviewing the third film. But other than that, I'll talk to y'all tomorrow or later. Peace!